Speaking in English fluently like a native speaker is like a challenge for everyone, especially for those whose English is their second language. So, in today's slot, we will discuss on the tips and tricks to encourage young learners to speak in English. Today, we are so lucky to have an excellent teacher and student to be with us to talk about this topic. We have here Miss Hanani, who is an experienced and excellent teacher who has been teaching for many years. She has also received a few rewards for being a grad teacher. Besides her, we have Hermine, who is an excellent student. She is a straight A student and especially well versed in English. Now, on to the highlight of the day. As a teacher yourself, Miss Hanani, what do you think are the reasons that young learners are reluctant to speak in English?
Before I answer that question, I would like to thank you, Michelle, for this lovely podcast invitation. I greatly appreciate it. Now, as we all know, English language plays a huge role in today's society. It is the world's lingua franca and is one of the basic keys to ease our lives. That's the reason why the said language has been taught to our students since primary school. However, personally, there is a constant number of students that lack confidence when they are speaking English. They have this unspoken fear of being judged by the people around them. They refuse to be laughed at or to be criticized when they commit blunders when they speak English. Hence, they barely hone their speaking skill at all. To be honest, the blame isn't fully on them. We have this stigma in our community where English is being used as a measurement tool to assume our overall potential. Some of us really have this mindset where those who can't talk English without a flaw are deemed as a foolish. It's not like that. It's never like that. So, as an educator, I need to create effective ways so the students will no longer have this irrational internal panic whenever they speak English.
I couldn't quite agree more to what you have just stated. How about we hear it from a different point of view? As a student, Hermine, what do you think about this?
From my point of view, I think one of the factors that the students don't want to speak about is because they are not sure what to say. We can understand almost every person who speaks English, but when we try to speak, words disappear in our mind just like that. I am telling you from my own experience. I believe that anyone can become a fluent speaker of English, but that traditional way of learning makes communication very difficult. The real problem is that traditional lessons put extra steps between you and the English you want to learn, such as rule memorizations, confusing explanation, and translations. So, when we try to speak, we must reverse these steps, making us lose our words. Think and translate in conversation.
Well, I would say it happens to me sometimes, especially for those who are bilingual, where English is not our mother tongue.
Yeah, when you listen or read, you are recognizing information, but when you speak, you must recall information instantly to communicate without hesitation. So, if students feel insecure about their speaking abilities, they will have a harder time speaking up.
Now, moving on to the next question, what are the tips and tricks that you think are effective to encourage young learners to speak in English? Would you mind sharing it with the audience?
At first, I always experienced that the word did not come to my mind whenever I was trying to speak in English. I feel like going to go blank and do not know how to express myself properly without the words, and I am scared that at the right moment that could result in me losing my confidence and messing up everything. If I can just simply come down to saying that practice more to overcome this, but that cannot be an answer to everything, right? There have to be some other concrete steps and measures which you may adopt and eventually improve your fluency, which I will expect you to apply in your normal life if you want to actually overcome this problem of yours. First of all, I want to say that this is definitely an issue. I used to face this too, and eventually it decreased. Like right now, I am speaking to you. I don't really have to think about the word. They come to my mind automatically.
That's great. How did you manage to achieve that?
Apart from saying that you need to practice more, if you find it difficult to come up with one proper word for a particular sentence when you are speaking with somebody, I will just substitute. Formula of substitutions will work for you. I also do that all the time. You need to automate vocabulary.
I love the fact that you use the word automate, but what does automate means?
It's a good question. To automate something is to make it automatic. Like, without thinking, you can do the same with grammar or vocabulary. Automate it. So, you are using it without thinking.
Do you mind explaining to us in a more intricate way?
Hmm. If I do not find the most appropriate word, I use the less appropriate word. For example, you are gorgeous. Gorgeous means you are so pretty. Probably, if I am unable to come up with this word, I will just simply say that you are so pretty or beautiful. So, there's always a substitute available for anything that you want to say. You will be able to construct sentence. Whenever you construct them correctly or not, the thing is, you will be able to speak. You try it for yourself, and I am telling you, it will work.
Wow, what a sophisticated use of word. Now back to Miss Hanani. As a teacher, how do you encourage your students to be more confident when it comes to speaking in English?
Well, I encourage my students through various ways. First thing first, I never put pressure on them to speak English. I firmly believe that they do things way better when they have less anxiety, including to talk in English. They still need a proper amount of practice, yes, but they also deserve to do it without the feeling of being forced or being judged. Usually, I ask them to pick one of their classmates and have a simple conversation with them about anything, their weekends, their pets, their favorite bands, and so on. This will enhance their speaking capability and they can gain new knowledge from each other. Eventually, they'll be comfortable enough to vocalize their thoughts in English as they are familiar with it. Other than that, I try my best to create a positive classroom environment. I want to create a sanctuary where my students feel the joy in my class. As I mentioned earlier, they are reluctant to speak English because they can feel the judgmental stance or they have a very low self-esteem. I wish to change that. I praise my students often, even if they make such a small accomplishment, because it is still an improvement. I also forbid them to make fun of their classmates' mistakes and teach them to support each other when they are learning. Not only that, I always remind them that it is completely fine to make some errors when speaking, as no one is born perfect.
I'm sure teachers play an important role when it comes to encouraging their students to speak in English. Do you have any other tips that you would suggest?
Oh, yes! To make things fun, I conduct several competitions for them.
That sounds interesting. What kind of competition do you hold?
Competitions or games such as Crazy Cubes, Spot the Differences, and Catchphrase will totally attract their attention. Sometimes I offer them rewards, so they will be energetic and do their best. Not only they can feel refreshed after sitting in the classroom for hours, they will be able to memorize the lesson better and longer. The tip is to search for the suitable speaking-based competitions to help them increase their proficiency in English. I also normalize speaking activities with my students. To to speak in English in my class is a must. And I also spend my time having casual talk with them frequently.
Well, that's an interesting teaching strategy coming from an excellent teacher. I personally agree when students are expected to practice speaking the language in class. As time goes, they will slowly get used to it and find it less intimidating than their first attempt.
Oh, yes, that's right, Michelle. The students will practice to speak in English among themselves, even when they are not in my class. To implement all the ways I've said earlier surely takes time, but it's all worth it. I witnessed with my own students improve consistently over the time. They have become more laid back and relaxed when they speak English. Of course, there are mistakes here and there, but they are learning, and I'm proud of them for doing so.
Couldn't be more happier than to witness the success of your students, right?
Yeah,
In addition, you need to gain confidence.
Beats me.
While here my tip for you is to push your comfort zone. So maybe you are learning English by reading a book or watching a movie that you are comfortable with. There is almost a fear if you like breaking your comfort zone, but when you use English in the real world, you are going to have to interact with other people, speak to strangers, make mistakes, and people laugh at you. It is going to happen. So, if I have to give you a little example to explain the scenario, I know I am extremely nervous when I am talking to somebody in English, and there is this opportunity if I go to talk to the native speakers or the proficient level speaker of English. So, if I have to talk to him or her, I used to perform better because people are not so polite. They speak quickly and they may not correct you.
I bet that does feel uncomfortable.
Yes, you will feel uncomfortable, but you will get used to feeling uncomfortable and you will get used to making mistakes. Thus, you have more confidence. Take your confidence up to the next level. You should practice with other people. Trust me.
Here's to choice, to making your voice be heard, to getting exactly what you want, especially when you eat. At Subway restaurants, you choose your freshly baked bread, meats, cheese, and veggies to make a sub that's just right for you. Come in and create yours today. Subway, eat fresh.
Unfortunately, to my dismay, we only have a few minutes left before we end our session. Well, if you don't mind, could you summarize the tips and tricks you have mentioned on the letter?
well, to sum it up, what we as teachers can do to motivate our young learners to speak English is to create a classroom that is filled with positive vibes for the students. We can also organize small games and competitions for them. And last but not least, make speaking activities a new normal in the class for them if we haven't done that yet.
To summarize, the young learners need to practice the substitution formula I have mentioned earlier. When you speak to other people, just be natural and talk comfortably. Furthermore, be confident in speaking by interacting with people and just ignore the social stigma that people will laugh at you if you want to be better. There's no such thing that you are too late to learn. Remember, better late than never. You should believe in yourself, and I know you can do it. Best of luck!
That was such a wonderful sharing from the both of you. A round of applause, please, for these two amazing speakers who kept us entertained for the whole afternoon. Not to forget, thank you also to our loyal listeners who tune in to our podcast. Stay tuned for the week as we are going to discuss on another interesting topic entitled How to Train Your Brain with Dr. Kevin. See you next week and goodbye.